What is going on, my family? Your boy Demetrius is back, and here we are going to talk about everybody's friendly neighborhood Spider-Man and his top 8 greatest enemies. Now, we all know, comic veterans, gamers already know, Spider-Man has the greatest group of enemies out of any comic book superhero, out of any universe, period. And here we are going to go through the top 8 greatest enemies that Spider-Man has, in my opinion. I understand, hundreds and thousands of other people have their different lists, so we're going to go against the list that I feel like Spider-Man has the top greatest enemies of all time. As I said before, this is just my list of the top 8 greatest enemies that he has, and also I'm just going to be giving you reasons on why I feel like these particular enemies of Spider-Man belong in the top 8 and belong in the placings that I put them in. But before we start, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe to your boy for more of this Real Talk Marvel shit. And we about to start the list right now. Number 8 on the list is Dr. Octopus, and the reason that I placed Dr. Octopus number 8 is because, of course, Dr. Octopus, pretty household name. We've seen him on the games, the movies, the comic books, and so forth. But with Dr. Octopus, the reason why I don't put him a little bit higher is because really, Dr. Octopus is kind of like that character, like he kind of comes and goes, and that's just really it about Dr. Octopus. Like, the depth really isn't there with him, but like I said before, Dr. Octopus is one of those enemies of Spider-Man that will show up sooner or later at any point in time, whether it be a movie, a comic book, or a game, because he is, one of Spider-Man's most known and biggest enemies, and that's why I put him on number 8. Number 7 on my list is the Molten Man. The Molten Man is kind of like, Human Torch in a way. In a way, he's like Human Torch. He's also a personal favorite super villain of mine. I just love the Molten Man. Like his personality. Like I said, I think he's a better version of Human Torch. He just happens to be a super villain. But I put Molten Man here, number 7. Like I said before, when he goes up against Spider-Man, he's one of those type of characters, like Spider-Man really just has to, duel it out with him. He does make Spider-Man struggle, and then the battles that him and Spider-Man have had, the Molten Man really puts a beating on Spider-Man. Like, he puts a burning beating on Spider-Man. Every time these two get together, the Molten Man, he leaves his scars on Spider-Man. And this is an issue right here. This is Amazing Spider-Man number 440. 1998. So this is one of my favorite Molten Man comics, Molten Man issues with Molten Man in it. There's other ones, but I actually like this because at the time I really didn't think that I was going to see the Molten Man ever again. But he came back in this, and I was definitely excited when I seen this, because I think before this issue came out, I think the last time I had seen the Molten Man was probably in like a 1982 issue. That's like a 16-year gap to when I had seen the Molten Man. So like I said, the Molten Man is a personal favorite of mine. I put him at number 7 because every time he goes up against Spider-Man, the Molten Man always leaves his mark. Spider-Man comes out with the victories, but the Molten Man always leaves his mark on Spider-Man's. One of Spider-Man's toughest enemies, without the shadow of a doubt. Number 6 on my list has to be the Black Cat. Now, the reason why I put the Black Cat on number 6, now I know a lot of people are kind of like, well, you know, Spider-Man and Black Cat are kind of like allies slash behind the mask relationship lovers. But here's the thing with the Black Cat and Spider-Man. It's like their relationship is just very weird and very exciting. It's kind of like, you know, before they became good with each other, the Black Cat, man, every chance she get, I mean, she was whooping up on Spider-Man. Let's just keep it real. It's kind of like, you know, Spider-Man and the Black Cat got that, you know, got that Batman-Catwoman relationship. You know, 1 week they enemies, 1 week they up kissing on each other. That's how Spider-Man and the Black Cat are. You know what I'm saying? So when she is his enemy, she can be one of his best enemies. Like when they're actually fighting each other, and then of course, you know, some issues they're fucking foreplaying, they flirting with each other, they end up kissing each other. It's just a weird relationship that Spider-Man and the Black Cat have. But you know, but when she's against him, she gives Spider-Man a run for his money. And then even when they fight against each other, it's like it's foreplay. Y'all feel what I'm saying? And case in point right here, this is Amazing Spider-Man number 194, man. Check this issue out because it'll definitely explain the weird relationship that these two have. Black Cat is whooping up on him, but as you can see, you know, it's just foreplay. It's just some foreplay going on with these two, but they fighting each other. You feel what I'm saying? So the relationship between Spider-Man and Black Cat, it's just really interesting. Like I said, it's kind of like a Batman-Catwoman relationship or a Eon Flux Trevor Goodchild relationship. It's the same thing with these two, Spider-Man and Black Cat, but it's always interesting. That's why I say whenever he has an issue with Black Cat, it's always a good pickup. Whenever she's on a fucking, you know, TV series or whatever, it's always something to watch because the relationship that these two have, it's just weird, interesting, and exciting at the same time. So it's kind of like with the Black Cat, she can be one of his best enemies, but also she can be one of his best allies, and she can be one of his best love interests as well. So Black Cat is really all three, if you really think about it. But I do put her at number 6 as Spider-Man's top 8 greatest enemies. Number 5 is Carnage. Now, I know for a fact, any Spider-Man fans, comic book fans, or whatever, if you are making a greatest all-time enemy list of Spider-Man, if Carnage is not on your list, it's something wrong with you. It's something wrong with you. As a matter of fact, you don't even know nothing about the comics. If Carnage is not on your list, something is wrong with you. Carnage, of course, one of Spider-Man's greatest enemies. And one thing I love about Carnage, whenever Carnage is involved in something, especially like when it came to the comic books, it was never no one issue, one and done. Every time Carnage came around, you best to get ready for a saga. And that's exactly what happened. Everybody knows about the whole Maximum Carnage series. Everybody knows about the whole Web of Carnage series. Like I said, when Carnage gets here, you best be ready for a saga. It's never an easy battle for Spider-Man. It's never a one and done battle for him. One of Spider-Man's toughest enemies. And like I said, kind of like with the Molten Man, Carnage leaves his mark on Spider-Man. Not only does he leave his mark on Spider-Man, he leaves his mark on Spider-Man's allies and the people closest to him. So definitely one of Spider-Man's greatest enemies. Just a good character altogether. Like I said, Carnage, you know, a good character to read, good character to watch, man. Special character, you know what I'm saying? And of course, you know, they even had the classic Maximum Carnage game. This is how powerful Carnage is. I'm gonna let y'all know how powerful Carnage is. When it gets to the point that Captain America has to get involved, man, that's a bad motherfucker. Carnage is a bad motherfucker. If Spider-Man had to align himself with Venom, that's a bad motherfucker. So Carnage, definitely number 5. Definitely one of Spider-Man's greatest enemies of all time. And like I said, if Carnage is not on your list, it is something wrong with you. You need to change that list if Carnage is not on it. Because he's definitely on it. Number 5 on my list. Number 4 is the Green Goblin. Now this one was kind of tough because of course we all know you got the Green Goblin, then you got the Hobgoblin. So this was a tough one for me, but I'm going to have to go with the Green Goblin coming in at number 4. Simply because, you know, the Green Goblin, much like all the other ones, Green Goblin is just noticed, pretty much iconic. And then of course, you know, first Spider-Man movie, of course, Green Goblin was the first enemy that we actually saw on the big screen. The first really big Spider-Man movie that ever came out back in 2002. The Green Goblin was the chosen enemy, so I always thought that was kind of special that they started out with the Green Goblin. And another reason why I chose the Green Goblin over the Hobgoblin in this place is because the Green Goblin is the daddy. So, like I said, Green Goblin, and he's also one of those characters. He just has a nice little concept, you know, how he flies around and shit like that with all the bombs and shit. Man, that's what I love about the damn character. And you know, this is one of my favorite Green Goblin issues here. It's a Spider-Man Chapter 1, issue number 10. This was 21 years ago. This is a great issue too. I suggest if y'all a Spider-Man collector, y'all should go ahead and pick this up and read this issue right here, because this got some good Green Goblin shit in there. But Green Goblin, definitely number 4 on Spider-Man's top 8 greatest enemies list. Number 3 on my top 8 greatest Spider-Man's enemy list is the Kingpin. And the reason why I put Kingpin at number 3 is because, number 1, I absolutely love Kingpin. He's one of my most favorite supervillains of all time. I think he's one of the best Marvel supervillains of all time, as well as supervillains all time in general. I mean, Kingpin, just like his personality, I like what he brings when it comes to, you know, the comics, the movies, the games. I just like, you know, the enthusiasm of the Kingpin. And whenever Spider-Man comes across the Kingpin, it's always you know, the Kingpin is so good at putting twist into whatever that is going on. And that's what I like about him. And also, like with the Kingpin too, when you see the Kingpin show up, whether you read the comics, play the games, or whatever, when you see the Kingpin show up, you're bound to see another supervillain, you know, show up in the background. So that's why I also love the Kingpin. He's just one of those type of, you know, he's one of those type of villains that he knows how to get other supervillains to align themselves with each other to go up against Spider-Man. And we all know the famous video game Spider-Man versus the Kingpin for Sega CD. Classic game, one of the most, you know, top 5 Spider-Man games ever made. And then on top of that, some classic comic books that I have of the Kingpin, the Amazing Spider-Man number 197, man. Kingpin just goes all out, and that's one thing I love about this character. When all of the gimmicks and then, you know, all of the con talking doesn't work, Kingpin, he'll go straight up with Spider-Man. He will go fist to fist with Spider-Man, and that's what I like about this character. Like, he can just do it all. And another thing I like about the Kingpin as well is that the Kingpin just got this type of, you know, he just got this type of Isaac Hayes type mentality towards him. You know what I'm saying? Even though he comes out on the wrong end, like Spider-Man does get the best of him a lot, his cool mentality, man, you just gotta love it. That's why I say Kingpin is number 3, because like I said, he's good at putting a twist into whatever is going on. Number 2, of course, it's Venom. Now, of course, Venom was going to be right at the top because Venom pretty much is an iconic character, one of a lot of people's favorite Spider-Man enemies, favorite characters in general. Like I said before, man, definitely iconic. Everybody loves Venom, and depending on who you come across, depending on who you ask, people actually like Venom even better than Spider-Man himself. So, you know, That is really true out here. So Venom is one of those characters, like, everybody knows him, everybody loves him. He's a favorite character on a lot of the games and everything, man. Venom is just everywhere. It's just Venom, Venom, Venom. Motherfuckers love Venom, you know. I love Venom too. Love his design, you know, just kind of like, you know, love the flair that he brings every time that he goes up against Spider-Man. Definitely one of Spider-Man's deadliest enemies. There's no question about it. Venom always is going to be on the top. He's another character. If you're making a top 10 greatest enemies list, Venom has got to be there. He has got to be there. Top 5, top 10, top 8, or whatever. He has to be on that list because Venom is just irreplaceable and iconic. And this here, this is the special issue here, Amazing Spider-Man number 375. And I'm going to tell you something. See, this is the 30th year anniversary. Amazing Spider-Man number 375. If you don't have this and you consider yourself a Spider-Man fan, collector, whatever, if you don't have this issue in your collection, you need to go out and get it, for real. You need to go out and get it. If you are a Spider-Man Venom fan, collector, you need to go out and get this because this is a special ass issue right there. Not because it's holographic, but the depth of this issue and everything that goes along with it inside of here. Man, you will probably read this issue 5 times a week, man. This is how good this issue is. One of my personal favorite Spider-Man comic books of all time right here. Spider-Man versus Venom. This is a classical issue right here. And to be quite honest with you, this issue right here kind of made me get into more of like the Spider-Man games and shit like that at the time when I was reading this. So this is a very special issue right here. So if you are a collector of any kind, Spider-Man, Venom, Marvel, man, you need to get this shit right here, man. You're missing out on some shit with this issue. But as it pertains to Venom, like I said before, Venom is definitely up there. You know, Venom is pretty much his own character. He's in his own realm. So basically, you know, that is the reason why he is number 2 on my list. Because even though Venom is a super villain, a lot of people see him as a kind of like a superhero just a little bit because he's just so loved. You feel what I'm saying? He's a real loved character. Definitely popular, definitely iconic. Venom, number 2 on the top 8 greatest enemies list of Spider-Man. Number 1 on my Spider-Man top 8 greatest enemies list. I know a lot of people are going to be surprised by who I'm about to name off, but I have definite evidence that this guy is Spider-Man's greatest enemy. And number 1 has to be J. Jonah Jameson. This is Spider-Man's greatest enemies, and I'm going to tell you the reason why. Because it does not matter what the fuck Spider-Man does. Spider-Man has saved this dude's life on countless occasions. J. Jonah Jameson, it just does not care. His hatred for Spider-Man runs thick. It doesn't matter. And case in point, this is Amazing Spider-Man number 192. Classic issue right here. As you can see, Spider-Man and Jonah Jameson are in trouble together. Spider-Man saves Jonah Jameson's life, but it doesn't even fucking matter. J. Jonah Jameson still has this damn hatred for Spider-Man, even after Spider-Man just roughly saves his life. And then on top of that, here's another issue, Peter Parker Spider-Man number 10, issued in 1999, where basically Jonah Jameson gets captured by Venom. Spider-Man saves Jonah Jameson from Venom. It don't even fucking matter. I mean, come on. Jonah Jameson gets captured by Venom and you still hate Spider-Man? That's some thick hatred right there. And then also too, a lot of these enemies that Spider-Man has aligned himself with a lot of these enemies at a certain point in time. But Jonah Jameson, it's just not gonna go down. It just does not matter how many times Spider-Man saves his life. Jonah Jameson's hatred for Spider-Man, let's just keep it real, it's eternal. So that's why I feel like J. Jonah Jameson is number 1 on my Spider-Man's top greatest enemies list, because it just does not matter what Spider-Man does. J. Jonah Jameson is going to hate Spider-Man with a purpose. So my family, that is my top 8 greatest enemies for Spider-Man. And like I said before, this is just my top 8. I know hundreds of y'all got your own top 8, top 5, or top 10, and I think it's amazing. That's the beauty of this whole thing. But those are the top 8 enemies that I think that really make Spider-Man shine, really, you know, make everything just legendary and classic in my opinion. So, let me know what y'all think in the comment section below. What do y'all think about this list of my top 8 Spider-Man's greatest enemies? And if you want to, put your list down on the top 8, top 5, or top 10 Spider-Man enemies that you have, and we can get a discussion started, because I love this type of shit and I know y'all do too. So make sure y'all like, comment, and subscribe. My name is Demetrius. I will be back with y'all in the next video. God bless, stay safe. I am out. Peace.